I'm happy that you're all able to make it, and hopefully you can get something out of this. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Shireen. I've been through my own health journey pretty much since birth. So that's kind of why I'm here today. I started with GI issues, allergies, asthma. I had hormonal issues probably until 10 years ago. So I was able to kind of go on my own journey. I looked at both Eastern and Western practitioners. I went through a lot. I took my health into my own hands. I figured out a lot of things the hard way. So a big part of why I founded my practice, Health in the City, is because I really just don't want people to have to go through all the trial and error that I did. And I actually really love helping people go on the whole journey, and I love holding their hand through it. So that's kind of why I do what I do. It's that I want to help support people who go through that whole roller coaster of health, and helping them come out stronger and feeling even better than they did when they started. So just my professional background, I am a registered dietitian, but I practice more as a coach now. I utilize yoga, I utilize Reiki, breath work, mindfulness. I do a few different detox protocols for adults, teens, and kids, depending on what their needs are. So detox protocols are not for everyone, and a lot of people ask me about that stuff. So there has to be the right time and place for that. So why is it even important? Why are we even talking about health right now when we feel like the world is like crumbling? Because if we don't prioritize our health, and it seems like the last thing on our to-do list, then we're going to have an even tougher time through these difficult times. So if you're able to prioritize your health, have optimal health at a time where you feel like the world is sitting on your shoulders, you can actually come out feeling better and stronger. A lot of times we're responsible for people, and if we're not feeling good or we're falling apart, they're falling apart. So it's really important to remember that. It's kind of like when you're sitting on the plane and they say, put the mask on yourself before your child. You really do have to prioritize yourself first in order to be there for everybody else. Another thing that we kind of forget, and I think I forgot this with some of my friends during COVID, is we're not just what we eat, but what we see, say, smell, hear, touch. So when you're eating like crap, you feel like crap. When you're eating well, you feel good, but it's also what you're listening to. It's also what you're looking at, what you're saying to one another, the types of interactions you have with people. You really want to be mindful of how much you expose yourself to negativity, how much you speak negative things, how much you listen to negative news. A lot of that can actually change your cellular makeup. It can actually affect the way your cells react and the way your body physically feels, not just emotionally. We get to decide whether or not our bodies are temples or prisons. And really, one of the worst things you can do is let your body be like a prison. And so many people are feeling trapped in their bodies, and it's really hard to get yourself out of that. So don't put yourself in a situation where you're already feeling a lot of pressure from whether it's work or the world, and then your body is also creating a lot of pressure and issues for you. And most importantly, neglecting our physical and emotional health can really lead to just basic nervous system dysregulation. And that's like a really important alarm, letting our body know, like, wake up, you know, like you need some TLC, do something for your body, or do something for your mental health that's going to make you feel better. And a lot of times we ignore that nervous system dysregulation, and that's where more complications come in. So we want to really be mindful to catch it when we can, and catch it early on, and do the things that our bodies and our mind need in order to balance out, so it doesn't lead to further illness or disruption. So what are some physical signs or symptoms that we're actually looking for dysregulation? I could probably relate to like every single one of these things at some point or another. Excessive worry, difficulty not being able to stop thinking about what happened or whatever is bothering you, having sleep issues, insomnia, not being able to stay asleep. A lot of times people get up between the hours of 2 and 4. That is a big wake-up call that there's something happening with your cortisol and with your hormones. So you really want to be mindful of that. Ruminating, hypervigilance, like always getting up in the middle of the night, checking on your kids sleeping or checking on the family, making sure the door is locked. Difficulty relaxing, just sitting. A lot of people are like constantly moving around, go, 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 and never take a moment to relax. And when they do, they're actually uncomfortable relaxing. Muscle tension. Like for me, I carry everything in my shoulders, so it always feels like I have rocks in my shoulders. Excessive hair loss, unintentional weight gain or weight loss. I know a lot of us get super excited when we lose weight unintentionally, but that's actually not a great sign that your body is balanced or that your health is balanced. So you don't want to lose weight from stress because a lot of other things could be happening. Feeling keyed up or on edge, always being like sensitive about what everyone's saying and like being very like defensive or reactive. Kind of engaging in more, drug use or alcohol use, smoking, always smoking on a vape, or always wanting to smoke weed before you go to bed or have a glass of wine. Your inability to complete simple tasks. I actually posted something about this the other day. I know this has happened to me when I'm so preoccupied. I go to do like a million things and I can't do anything. So it's almost like in a freeze state. Being irritable with emotional outbursts, crying frequently, inability to feel pleasure in anything, feeling like the world is just bad and horrible and everything is bad and everything sucks, feeling detached or numb, wanting to be alone, isolating yourself, having social anxiety, going to like a crowded place and not being able to stay calm in those loud environments, not wanting to socialize with people like you used to. And then look at your physical responses. I get so many people saying, I'm so bloated, I'm so gassy, I'm so constipated. When you are constantly in fight or flight, it's very difficult for your GI tract to function in a digest and relax state. So you have to be rested and you have to be relaxed. And it's not just sitting, but you actually physically have to be relaxed for your digestive system to operate the way it needs to. A lot of times people have random aches and pains. They always have back pain and knee pain and shoulder pain, appetite changes. So look at what your physical responses are. Look at how your body is changing in its functions. Feeling sadness, guilt, anger, fear, anxiety. It's happening a lot with the younger population. They're always feeling anxious. They're not able to snap out of it. They're always reactive. A lot of that is like excessive exposure to things that can be causing more frustration, fear, anxiety. So be mindful, and we'll talk a little bit about limiting your exposure to those things. And then cognitive responses, memory issue, brain fog. I can't tell you how many people are like, I have brain fog, confusion, being indecisive, not being able to concentrate. So many people are like drinking coffee after coffee because they can't even complete tasks without that. So we don't want to be at that point of burnout where we have to rely constantly on substances to help us get through the day. So let's say we get some of these signals and we decide, okay, like I'm fine, I'm still functioning, I'm going to ignore this. So then what can happen? Well, a lot more can happen. And a lot of times, you go to the doctor and they're like, okay, here's a pill for this, or here's a treatment for that, or sorry, we can't do much. Um, that's kind of the point where I would say you probably want to look into it a little bit deeper, because a lot of times, even if you're taking medication for something, even if you're masking the symptoms, it's not going to get to the source. It's not going to fix the problem. So you could have a lot of people say, like, let's say I've had chronic migraines since I, started menstruating, or I'm just not in the mood, to be intimate with my partner, or ADHD runs in my family, or, everyone in my family has some sort of autoimmune disease, like, Hashimoto's or MS or something like that. So um, anything from like poor self-image, poor low self-esteem, even eating disorders, insomnia, hormonal issues. I see this so much. People go years and years and years without processing their feelings and processing their stress. And then they end up having PCOS or thyroiditis or endometriosis, even diabetes, insulin sensitivity, being constantly up and down in mood. That's a really big one. A lot of people think like, oh, I'm just a moody person, or, this is just my personality. Something with even kids or adults, but sensory challenges, being sensitive to light, sound, touch. A lot of people get really irritated if they have like a tag on the back of their shirt or their pants, and it drives them crazy. Some people are more sensitive to weird fabrics, picky eating, like certain food textures bother you. Of course, all the GI stuff, IBD, IBS, dysbiosis, leaky gut, those are big ones these days. Chronic constipation, temper tantrums, or inability to self-soothe. And when I talk about that, usually I mean with kids, but a lot of times adults are presenting those same things where they can't manage their feelings or they can't self-soothe. Something else that's really important to look into is that stubborn weight gain, that weight that just won't get off, regardless of how well you eat or how much you exercise, or any unexplained weight changes. I know a lot of us say like, oh, after 35, it's hard to lose weight, or after 40, the hormones kick in, but that's actually not as normal as we make it sound. A lot of that is wear and tear of our bodies and wear and tear of our hormonal system. So we want to kind of still be mindful of that, especially, and this goes for both men and women, but we see it a lot in men, is that abdominal weight. If you gain some sudden abdominal weight and you can't let that weight go, a lot of that has to do with your stress response. So be mindful of that weight, and exercise is not going to burn that off. You really do need to work on managing the nervous system to help tackle that weight. So how do we get started on, trying to balance our bodies or balance our health? Well, first of all, it's mindset. So we want to shift our focus from the things we cannot control, the things we don't have, the past or the future, the things based on fear, lack, and control. We want to shift our focus from that to focusing on ourselves. So what can we be proactive about? What can we actually do to make our lives better? What personal choices can we make? And then also the gratitude for the things that we do have. What fulfills us, what makes us happy, what gives us a sense of purpose, and what is actually happening now, what is happening current day in our lives, and what can we control right now, giving us a sense of freedom and not feeling so imprisoned in what happened in the past and what could happen in the future. And then we could just use some tools. It's very, it's not every tool is for everyone. So it's very personal. You want to pick tools that work for you, work for your lifestyle. Some of you are parents, some of you are busy, some of you are students, and some of you just don't feel comfortable doing certain things. So you have to pick tools that are actually something you can utilize. First of all, most of us need to practice this, including myself, is honor where our nervous feelings are coming from, our anxieties are coming from. You need to have that awareness. So if you just say, I don't know why I'm like this, and you're like talking down to yourself and frustrated with yourself and creating more anxiety and stress, that's not going to help you overcome whatever it is that you're feeling. Just bring awareness to it. Okay, I'm feeling like this. It's coming probably from this. And be okay to sit with it. Remind yourself that it's okay to have feelings. It's okay to feel stressed. The more you criticize yourself for feeling, the more you're going to feel anxious, upset, sad, depressed, angry, all of those things. And then ride the wave. This is the fun part, but it's probably the most difficult part, is like really surrendering to it and saying, okay, I have like 5 tools that I use. Which one am I going to use today? You could do somatic experiencing, something called Rolfing. There's like, it's deep massage that can actually release your feelings. I don't know if you guys have seen those videos on Instagram, but it's really crazy when they're doing these deep massages, going a lot deeper than what like a Swedish massage would be. And people are actually just bawling and releasing all of that tension and all of that stuck emotion. We do hold emotion in different parts of our bodies. So specific types of massage can really help. Yoga, dance, Pilates. Hip openers are huge in releasing emotion. A lot of times when people are doing hip openers, they're like, why am I crying in the middle of a yoga class? It really is effective in releasing your emotions. Feeling your feelings and having self-compassion. Something that I was taught actually when I was unable to have self-compassion is put your hand on your heart and one hand on your belly, feel your heartbeat, feel your breath coming in and out of your body, and actually giving yourself love and being like, I'm safe, I'm good, I love myself, it's okay that I have these feelings. Doing breath work. So box breathing is something that it's super easy. You just let out all your breath. You inhale for 4. You hold for 4. And you let out for 4. So you inhale for 4. You hold for 4. You let out for 4. And it's all even. So it's kind of like just simple rhythmic breathing. You don't want to do breath work while you're driving though. So just keep that in mind. A lot of times people feel like that's the only time they have for themselves, but it can make you lightheaded. Also the physiological side, very easy, but very effective. So you take it 2 breaths in. The first one is a little bit longer than the second. So you go in, or you could breathe out through your nose. So you do 2 breaths, the first one a little longer than the second, and then you release. A lot of times when you engage in breath work, if you really get into like the sweet spot of breath work, you're like, why are there tears rolling out of my eyes? It's probably one of the sneakiest releases you'll have with your emotions, because you won't feel anything, and then you'll feel like a tingling on your, all over your body, and you might release some tears or release like a cough or something that feels like some stuck emotion. Changing your physiology is really big. Walking, dancing, eye movement. I have a very good friend, I think she's on this call, who's actually training in EMDR. She's seeing like really, really amazing things happening. And I think we kind of take like our senses for granted. They could be very, very effective when trying to work through the emotion or work through the trauma. Something else that's interesting, and this is part of kind of getting out at sunrise and sunset is staring at the horizon. That's been proven to really calm the nervous system down. So if you could get out during sunrise or sunset, probably the best time to get vitamin D and the best time to stare at the horizon. Gratitude practice or journaling. The best way to get started if you hate journaling, which I still have trouble with it, is a 5-minute journal. You could go on Amazon and get it. I really have no affiliation with them, but it takes like 2-3 minutes in the morning, 2-3 minutes in the evening, and it gives you a good morning routine. And it doesn't, it kind of spoon feeds the journaling too. So it forces you to think of 3 things that you're grateful for. It forces you to think of 3 things that you hope will happen for the day. And you could take it with you everywhere. It's like not such a big book. So I really like the 5-minute journal. You could free journal or you could free write as well, or you could just wake up and say 3 things you're grateful for and finish up your day saying 3 great things that happened in your day. Grounding is big. For those of you who follow me on Instagram, I'm always walking barefoot in grass or on dirt. Connecting with nature, tree hugging is really a thing, and it's a thing for a reason. It does calm a lot of us. The point of grounding is that we're supposed to actually be connected with the vibration of the earth, and our shoes, technology, our cars, all the physical things in the world kind of get in the way of us connecting with that rhythm. So if you could even take 5 to 10 minutes in the morning to connect, you'll probably see big changes. And then something else that I like to use, and I really ask a lot of clients to use it, especially when they're going back and forth to a million places throughout the day, is using the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method. So whenever you feel like your head's gonna blow up and you feel like so overwhelmed, it's probably because you're not grounded. So you think of 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. It takes seconds. And that will bring you back into your body. And a lot of people have a hard time even recognizing when they're not grounded. But when you feel so overwhelmed that like nothing you're doing or saying has clarity, it just feels all jumbled in your head, probably means that you're not grounded. And it's a very easy tool to use. Hang out with someone you're 100% comfortable with. I know for a lot of us that's, not always an option, especially if we're at work or we love our kids, but they drive us crazy, or, our spouse annoys us. But find someone that you're 100% comfortable with. I know there's quite a few people I'm lucky enough to, be around when I just want to be myself and I want to come back into my body. So that's something that can actually be part of your support system too. Think about people that you really can be yourself with. Ask for what you need from those around you and learn to have boundaries when necessary. So if you need time alone, if you need just quiet time, if you need a hug, if you don't want anyone to touch you, learn to ask for those things. Learn to create a safe space for yourself. And then vagus nerve stimulation, which is very big. We talk a lot about the vagus nerve. There's so many different ways to stimulate your vagus nerve. You can sing, you can laugh. A lot of people are doing these cold plunges. Even gargling in the morning can get your vocal cords and your vagus nerve activated. Massage is wonderful. I love to use Reiki for that, especially when someone's just feeling so out of sorts that they need a little assistance in getting their nerves going. Exercise is so important, you guys. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. You don't have to go to like Barry's boot camp, but exercising or walking every day, doing yoga, just even stretching on a mat. And then the new thing is this ASMR, like that, like the whispering on the, like in the click, click, clicks. And like, if you go on YouTube, there's a lot of videos that gives you, like, it's supposed to give you goosebumps. That can be very soothing for a lot of people. I don't find that soothing, honestly, but I know that for many, it's very helpful, and they find that those sounds very calming. And then there's also something that we tend to use with kids, and it really helps with ADHD and OCD and a lot of kids that have a hard time calming down or their nervous system or self-soothing. And a lot of adults and families do it together. It's called the Safe and Sound Protocol. You can look into that. We use that for specific practice with kids and families who are going through, you know, some difficulty and are also dealing with other things like environmental toxins that's getting their nervous system disrupted. And then finally, like, reframe what stress means to you, reframe what's going on in the world means to you. A lot of people are like, God, I hate where I live, or I hate the way the world is, or what am I going to do for my kids, or this is such an ugly world. I'm even guilty of saying that a lot of times. But sometimes when you think about it, stress is an opportunity for growth, and it's an opportunity to show you like, hey, there's actually something I care a lot about, or there's something that gives me such a sense of purpose that I'm this passionate about that I'm actually allowing for it to create a feeling or create stress for me, and kind of make it a positive thing, give it a positive twist. So what are some lifestyle adjustments other than the tools that I shared that can not only help us balance our nervous system, but benefit our overall health? What can we do to just be healthy in general? So there's a lot that can be done. The list could have gone forever. There's some really obvious ones. Number one thing is limiting screen time, which people talk about this a lot with kids, but they don't talk about this as an adult. Screen time is not just about your Bluetooth exposure. Screen time is about the EMF exposure that comes with those screens. EMF exposure is the electromagnetic frequency of your device. So whether it's a laptop or an iPad or an iPhone, whatever it is, it does have a frequency. And then we have a frequency around us. So when we have a frequency around us and our device is giving off something else, something that's opposing, it almost interferes, or it makes us vulnerable to you know, other things. So it's kind of like we're battling these EMF exposures from our devices. I will discuss EMF protection. There are some sources that you can look into for protection. I have, and I'll talk about it, but I have this sticker on my phone and all my devices. I wear this necklace, but I just try to do the most that I can do. And there's some other things you can do as well. Limit alcohol, smoking, marijuana, even caffeine. I know for some of us, the caffeine is a big one. Limit it where you can. It does leave excessive caffeine consumption does lead to eventual burnout. So you don't want to burn out your adrenal glands. You don't want to, you know, be running on cortisol all the time, because that eventually is going to catch up with you. Sleep. I'm like afraid to even say sleep, because I think a lot of people are like, I can't, or I don't have time, or whatever. Sleep is so important. From A to Z, sleep is important. Hormones, health, body, digestion, mental health, it doesn't matter. Get as much quality sleep as you can and create a really beautiful space for yourself. Like, I like to make my bed look like a hotel bed. I have a hotel comforter and hotel sheets. That's how I get excited to go to bed. I don't watch TV in my bed, and I try not to go on my devices. My bed is only for sleeping, and I close my shutters. If you need to wear like a blackout mask or something like that, that can also help. But sleep is very, very important. Mm-hmm. And to piggyback on that, get your circadian rhythm back on track. These devices are messing with our circadian rhythm. When you're up at night and you're like scrolling through your phone before bed, and then you could fall asleep and then all of a sudden wake up in the middle of the night, that means you're disrupting your circadian rhythm. So you really want to try to get up, go outside first thing in the morning, get some natural sunlight. The best source of vitamin D is from the sun. I'm not going to get into sunning your holes, but if you want, look into that. That's a new trend going on. Some people do find that that's effective for them, and it's a quick way for them to get charged from the sun. Very important, eat whole and quality food. So if you're always eating out of a bag, that's probably not the best thing for you. And you want to make sure you're getting enough of your macronutrients, which is your protein, your carbohydrate, and your fat, and you're getting enough of your micronutrients. So a lot of us are vitamin D deficient, magnesium deficient. We're not getting the right electrolytes. So we're also scared of salt. A lot of us are, not eating salt in our food, but we're eating processed foods and getting excessive sodium that way. We want to make sure we're getting the right kind of salt and the right kind of hydration on top of that. So electrolytes go hand in hand with your hydration. We'll talk about that too. Do not skip meals. And that's just, it's so hard because intermittent fasting is such a big thing. Even if you're intermittent fasting, you want to have a regimen. You do not want to skip meals to the point where your body is shaking. You don't want your blood sugars to drop. And then you don't want to eat after that, because when you eat after you're skipping meals and you're already at the point of shaking and being hangry and hating everyone around you, your body is already in distress. When you are starving, your body is releasing, again, your fight or flight hormones, which is adrenaline, cortisol, all the things that eventually cause burnout. So do not skip meals. If you want to do some fasting, I recommend fasting from like 5 or 6 o'clock when the sun goes down until the sun rises again, and eat 3 meals a day, appropriate sizes. And then again, if you want to stop eating early on. Don't skip your breakfast in the morning, because your body is ready to burn in the morning time. That's when your body's ready to burn the calories and to utilize what you give it. Hydration is key. Most of us are dehydrated on a cellular level. This is why the whole entire world is like getting IVs. Think about it. What do people do? They go Sunday morning after a night of partying and they go get IVs. Why? Because they're dehydrated on a cellular level. But that IV is going to just last you a specific amount of time. And you've already put your body through stress. So you want to maintain, even if you are hydrating on a cellular level in that way, you want to make sure you're getting quality water. So if you could do mountain spring water in glass, that's great. It gets expensive and annoying. Then you want to make sure you can get like a good reverse osmosis filter. You want to make sure you're also bathing in quality water. So get like a filter on your shower head or on your sink. A lot of times we forget that our body, our skin absorbs everything in the water. Our water can be so contaminated that we're actually absorbing all of that stuff in the water. So if you're bathing in a bunch of swampy water, your body is absorbing a lot of that stuff. I use, and I have, again, no affiliation, I use a Jolie filter, and I use like a little head on my sink as well, and it's helped me. Like I used to get eczema on my hands, so I do definitely see a difference with that. Make sure your drainage pathways are open. When we talk drainage pathways, you guys, this is not just pooping. So many people are like, oh, I poop every day. Doesn't matter. Your drainage pathways, it's your lymph system, it's your breathing, it's your liver, it's your pooping, it's everything. Any way that you can excrete toxins, that's part of your drainage pathways. Do not ever do a detox unless your drainage pathways are wide open, because you can feel so horrible. If you try to detoxify a bunch of chemicals in your body and you're not getting it out, it can make you feel very sick, and it can actually backfire on you. So just really be mindful of that. Move and sweat daily. I don't know if my mom's on this call, but she hates to sweat. Some people really hate sweating. Sweating is so important though. And it's so important to, if you can't get your body sweating, go sit in a steam room, sit in a sauna, put yourself in situations where you're going to sweat. I know it ruins your hair, ladies. I hate when I have to wash my hair. I even plan my hair washing around my really sweaty days, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Our bodies need that, and we need to let a lot of those toxins go through our sweat glands. Laugh as much as you can. Laughing is so healing. It's so important. Sometimes when I'm crying, I even start laughing, and I find it to be so calming and so healing. Exchange love and affection with people that you love and you feel safe with. It's, again, part of your support system, but find people, even if it's with your kids, teach them to be affectionate, hug them, cuddle with them. Join a community of like-minded individuals you can actually engage in activities with. So if you like to hike, or if you like to do yoga, or if you like to paint or whatever, find a community of people, preferably not like a community of people inside a bar, but like outside in a more healthy environment. And, you know, people who actually engage in like healthier behaviors, and having a consistent morning routine. Get up, pray, journal, have a gratitude practice. Again, it could take like 3 seconds in the morning, and you could just say, I'm thankful for being alive. I'm thankful for my family, and move on with your day. But something in the morning that gets your day started and actually gets you grounded. So I included a recipe for a natural electrolyte drink. So many people ask, like, should they get those little element packets, or the little, like the little squeeze bottles or whatever? If you have time to make your own electrolyte drink, I would recommend that. Coconut water is a wonderful electrolyte drink on its own, or you could just use your own. The reason why we need electrolytes is because when you filter water, you're pulling out a lot of the minerals that our body needs. So we have to put them back in. I use the Premier Himalayan sea salt, and I use a raw honey. I put lime, sometimes ginger, in either coconut water or my reverse osmosis water or my spring water. I drink this every morning when I take my supplements, and I honestly feel so different. It really helps just clear everything out. For those of you who have constipation issues, electrolytes can really help. I know you don't usually think like electrolytes and GI, but it actually helps flush everything out. It helps plump up your organs in the morning, because while we're sleeping, everything kind of shrivels up like a raisin. So it's a great little thing. And I'll actually email you all a link if you want to purchase like the sea salt, or you want to buy the honey. You can go on the website and you can purchase it, and I'll give you a coupon code too. And then with EMF protection, there's a few things you can do to limit it. A lot of these things I do, some of them are harder than others, but I always have my phone on airplane mode when I'm home. Keep your phone away from your face. Leave it on speaker if you have to. And just when you're charging your phone, like, don't cuddle with it and lay with it and hug it and put it under your pillow. Like, charge it somewhere else. Don't charge it near your head while you're sleeping at night. If you can disable your Bluetooth and your Wi-Fi at night, that's actually very helpful. Many of you can't, because if your alarm systems run on your Wi-Fi, so, you know, that might not be an option. And, you know, avoid making calls when your phone signal is weak, or avoid making, you know, avoid pushing your phone if it doesn't, if it doesn't have like signal, or if it's struggling, or if your phone's heating up, don't keep on pushing it to work. Give it a second, because that heat is giving off a signal. And so you want to just give it a second and wait until you have reception. Use your Apple CarPlay when you can, or like if you have a Bluetooth system, just so you don't have the phone on you. And don't drive with the phone like on your lap, in your pocket, like under your arm, in your shirt. A lot of people do that because they don't want their phones flying around. So try to put it on a little stand, like the little magnet stands, if you can. Use wired accessories when possible. I always using wired accessories, even though people think it's not cool, that's fine. Really avoid those wireless earbuds. Those are like literally sticking like little microwaves in your head. And avoid the microwave if you can too. And reduce dirty electricity. So usually like electricity is around 50 to 60 hertz. You don't want to push something beyond what it's meant to be, because that gives off radiation, or it gives off frequencies. And then buy these little protection products if you can, when you can, things like the pendants, the stickers. Again, if you want the stickers, I'll send you guys the link for all this stuff. And then limit your app and location services. So when your phone is looking for your location, it's actually giving off more signal. So anything that causes your phone to work a little harder is giving off more EMF. So just be mindful of that. Oh my gosh. Okay, I know that was a lot. I'm gonna stop recording if I can figure this out. Okay, stop recording.